back outside. Come on back in. Oh, you guys. Thank you. Who was that? I was going to give a prize since you didn't say who you were, so. No, it was not. All right, our panelists are making their way up, and they're going to claim their seats. Come on, be ready to have questions for them. You have Pastor Enos up there. You have Sister Jetsy. You have Sister Elizabeth. Trying to identify red faces. Brother Gene, say hello to the people. Come on, wave, wave. He said hello, people. You've heard Pastor Enos already. Hello, people.
Who's everybody else?
Who's everybody else? You have Bernice.
Hi, Bernice.
Welcome, Bernice.
You have Miss Shana right here. Let's hear it from Miss Shana.
All right.
Okay, so we have Elzer? Yeah, you call me Z. Z, okay, we have Brother Z right up there. Come on, everybody say hi, Z.
Hi, Z. Malik.
Malik?
Yes.
Okay, everybody say hello to Malik.
Hi, Malik.
You guys did not say hello to Sister Elizabeth when I mentioned her name. Can everybody say hello? All right, everybody say hello to all of our panelists up there. All right, come on, give them a warmer welcome. All right. Right now, I'm giving the mic to Pastor Enos, and he will take it on from here.
Okay, well, welcome back, everyone. If you are back, I am assuming that you had a good time so far. Amen. And you're also enthusiastically anticipating what the experts have to share with us tonight. Amen. Amen. Now, I want to set you up to participate as much as you possibly can. They're here to answer your questions. So make good use of the mics that are on either side of the stage. There's one right over here, and there's one that will be right over here. Okay, so the stands are there, and that's for you to actually ask your questions. We do have some questions that we want to start out with, but we're more concerned about what's top of mind for you right now. So, without any further ado, I actually want to hear a little bit about, who we have here, and let them introduce themselves. And, if you're married, say you're married and who your spouse is, because their spouses are also here. You probably already see how it's lined up. But also, maybe two sentences about what dating was like for you. Okay, so who you are, your marital status, and then what was dating like for you? And if you're single, what's dating like for you now? All right, so I'm going to start with the person on my left. I call her my 4'11", my wife. My wife, Jetsy Lavador, and she got on the stool all by herself. I promise you, I saw her with my eyes. That's right. That is a great accomplishment. Don't come back for me, all right? Don't come back for me.
You already introduced me, so.
Yes. So, who are you? Who are you married to?
I'm Jetsy. This is my husband, Enos. What's the other question?
Yeah, what was dating like for you?
Dating, let me see.
She's like, dating? I didn't date.
Yeah. guess because we met in church, so it wasn't as hard. It's not like I was looking for it. It just occurred because I guess I was ready. I was in college, so when he came along, um, you were able to. I was able to say and know that okay, he's the one, and dating wasn't as hard because you know the person is the. You could tell that the person is. This is the one for you, so it wasn't as hard when it's time to date.
That's interesting. Yeah, we were already at church. we just started to attend all the Bible studies and all the choir rehearsals and all the youth ministry
So we can see each
activities because this is where we saw each other. We were faithful attendees of church. That makes sense. And here I just thought I was a devoted church goer. All right. So thank you, and it's good to have you here with us. I'm actually going to get to hear some things for the first time the way that you put it. So this is going to be good. Yeah, awesome.
Cool.
All right, well, you've heard from me. Let's go with our next couple. Sister Elizabeth.
Hi.
Hi.
So my name is Elizabeth, and I am married happily, 18 years, going on 18 years,
All right.
with
All right.
this handsome man behind me. I guess we were friends for a long time before we started dating. We were like best friends, so it was almost like we were still continuing a friendship. I don't want to say, well, it wasn't hard, I guess. It was not hard. So, yeah, that's all I got.
That's cool. That's cool. We were friends, and it's like, hey, you want to do this for the rest of your life? We should consider getting married. But that's cool.
I am Gene St. Cyr. I am married to this beautiful woman, Elizabeth St. Cyr, right here.
All right.
I had to top that one, when she said handsome guy, right? So we've been knowing each other for like 30 years, like she said. So since 1994, when she ignored me, passing me, when she said hi to my mom and she didn't say hi to me. So that was that was the case when
You thought he forgot that.
I knew he
first day of high school. That was
Okay, all right.
1994,
Okay.
September.
Wow. I'm just saying.
Raining maybe. No, with dating, like Elizabeth said, so with being friends, so we went out to movies, so it wasn't really complicated when we just switched from dating, so it was just like, just doing the same thing that we were doing and, speaking for the future when we start dating, pretty much.
That's cool. I'm actually going to start asking myself some questions here, so there will be follow-ups. Awesome. Okay, well, let's hear from Miss Lady in Red, Bernice. That's right. Y'all better make some noise.
Hi, everybody. My name is Bernice. What was the other question I was supposed to answer?
Are you married or single?
Oh,
Yeah, what's your marital status? I mean, somebody out here might need to know.
yes, I'm single.
What's dating like?
It doesn't really exist at the moment. It's kind of like a gray area, but we're navigating. So, yeah.
So you said we're navigating?
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds like Creole, like in English. Yeah, not boule, like we're doing something, like
I mean, it's kind of like we're freestyling for now.
freestyling for now. Okay. All right, cool. We're just not going to get that word. Awesome. Well, welcome, Bernice. And let's hear from the gentleman that is behind. Malik.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. As Pastor said, I'm Malik. So what's going on? What's going
What's
on?
going on?
Sorry, what was the question? Marital status.
Yeah, what's your marital status and
I'm a little-
what's dating like?
I'm a little in between, so
Help.
not single, but not
Okay.
married. So,
Okay.
dating or a girlfriend
Okay.
of 4 years. The beautiful Zaria sitting right there.
Okay. All right. Okay. Got it.
So, I'm sorry, what was the last question?
No, this is it.
That's it, okay.
This is it, but maybe you can tell us what church you're from because that
Yes. From Open Bible Church in Austell.
Okay.
So, it was a little bit of a hike for us to be here, but we're glad to be here with you guys all this evening. And I'm excited. I know it's going to be some good content.
Nice. Awesome. Okay, cool. Welcome, Malik, and let's go back down to the couch. Shayna. Shayna.
Hello? Okay, it works. Yes, it's Shenna. Sorry, my dad gave me a very interesting name, so I correct everybody. It's Shenna. I am married to this amazing man right here who made it. We've been married for 3 years. And dating for me, it's kind of opposite of you guys. We were friends for a long time, but dating was very hard for us because we didn't know how to shift from friends to dating. So we had that weird in between. So similar situation, but we handled it a little differently. And he can speak on that. But we, obviously we made it, right?
She's like, I'm in there. Okay, awesome. Welcome, Shayna. Yes. Z.
Yeah, my name is Elizabeth St. Cyr. You guys can call me Z. I'm married to Shenna, obviously. And dating, like she said, we were best friends at first. And transitioning from being best friends into dating was difficult, frustrating, but also exciting at the same time. So it was a lot of ups and downs through transitioning from what the role is as a friend to what the role is as a boyfriend. And then
There are roles. There are roles. We're going to get into it tonight. All right. So that's everybody on here. But now, before we move on, sometimes I'm petty on purpose. And the reason why I'm petty on purpose is because I don't want to go home tonight wondering how come my wife didn't say, I'm married to this handsome man over here when everybody else was like, this beautiful guy back here.
I'm married to a handsome.
Oh, come on now. Come on now.
We've
on
been
now.
married for 18 years.
That's right. But we got to be humble. All right, let's get back. So, when did you know that I was the one? What was your process?
Okay.
What was your process? And please, don't say I prayed and, we know you did. You prayed. But what was the process? You grew up in a Haitian household. It's a process. Y'all heard that?
I think it's conversations that we would have on the phone every night, getting to know.
Is that an underline every night?
Yeah, so it was every night.
It was every night.
Every night.
We talked.
Yeah.
We
so
talked.
I think in the talking, getting to know you, seeing if your values were the same as mine. Did we grow up the same way? What's the expectation for you versus the expectation for myself? What I wanted for my future and what you wanted. I think it's just the conversations, having the conversations, getting to know you, and then when I noticed that it was more just like the compatible, the values all the same, especially, of course, you don't want to say, oh, I prayed, but God is number one. That was number one.
Amen.
I grew up in church, so you know that you have to put God first in your life. So it's knowing that you are a man of God, that you also know that God comes first. So if you know God comes first, then we can handle anything else that comes along. So I think that's when I knew that, okay, he loves God. I love God. We want to live for God. Then he is the one.
That's awesome. It's a great answer. You want to know how I knew? You got to ask me back.
Babe, how did you know that I was the one?
So first of all, I think for most guys, it's really simple. It's, but maybe somebody might have a different, but I'll tell you where I went. Number one, I kind of said that thing to myself when I saw you being presented at church. And I was like, okay, nobody else is going to talk to her. This is going to be mine. I said it like that, very possessive. It sounds bad now that I say it out loud. But I just kind of knew from there. The other thing was, this is weird, but you gave me my older sister's vibe. My older sister is the person that holds me accountable. She's the person that, of course, she's my elder sibling, so it's like, here's what mom and dad said, you better make sure that, you're aligned. For me to find someone, full disclosure, that I was really attracted to, right? I mean, that's the first thing for me, not to say I'm no longer, still am, but that was like, boom, like, whoa, right? Then to see that she has the values of a person, of someone who really cares about me, that was like, okay, I'm gonna be good for the rest of my life. And my sister's also the person that, my older sister's the person that set me straight about girls. From the time that I thought that, you go out with girls to go out with girls. That's what you do. Like you just, you do things together. And then one day she goes, well, what's your intention with this girl? And I had never heard the word intention in the same sentence as girls up until that moment. And I said, oh, I'm supposed to have an intention. She goes, yeah, like getting married. It's like, oh, okay, cool. So for me, it's when I realized that, you two were just very much aligned. And as it turns out today, yeah, you're kind of like a Eunice that I'm attracted to. That's weird. All right. All right, cool. So when did you know he was the one? Uh-oh. You can't say that. You're the expert.
Well, like I said, we were friends before. We were really good friends. We did, we'll watch shows together on the phone.
You watch shows
while we're on the phone, we're talking about the shows and we're watching them.
Really?
I guess it was when when we're talking, he made me feel comfortable. He allowed me to be who I am in my crazy mind and did not judge. Never once more even, I was open enough to let him know deepest secret, and he was not judging or going and telling somebody else, or I was not hearing it other places and stuff. And so I knew, yeah.
You didn't feel criticized.
I didn't feel criticized, and I was able to be who
you are,
yes.
freely around
yes.
him.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Y'all should listen. Y'all should listen. That sounds like good stuff. Now, how did you know she was the one?
I would say just the supportiveness, throughout the time that when we were friends, just the way she supports and backs me up and pushes me to, go to the next level, right? And anything, and that, you want that person to support you and back you up, even though we never had a romantic relationship. We're just friends. I could see that her pushing me, and that was the easy transition to being, dating and seeing a future with this person when we came to that conversation.
She pushes me. That's good. So if she makes you backslide, she probably ain't the one.
Yeah. And also she could cook. Right?
She could cook.
That is correct. Yes. I have to be honest. Yes.
Okay.
That was one of the.
See, in my dating experience, I didn't know I could access her kitchen, while we were dating. It was something I had to get some special permission on. So you got to taste the cooking. That's good. I'm gonna jump to the other. Hey, stay in the spirit back there. Stay in the spirit. Stay in the spirit. I'm gonna jump to the other married couples, and you all had something very similar as well, where you were, friends. And I'm just wondering, like, was there like the situation where it's like, okay, friend zoning, and then it's like, nah, come on, who are we kidding here? And then we come back to it, and then friend zoning again. So at what point, like, when did you realize that, okay, we're never gonna be friends again? This is it. We're doing this.
I do truly believe that we were genuinely friends. But the time that I realized that she was the one, it was several things. Well, at least two things. We were friends, and we were both single, and I guess we were just talking, and then we're making a checklist so we can find like a boyfriend and a girlfriend. I make my own checklist. She's making her own checklist, so she can find.
Y'all helping each other
I'm like,
out
I need help.
as friends,
As friends.
to identify your boo.
Yeah. So we're doing that.
That's easy game. You told me what you're looking for. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. This is still happening, at another level.
Yeah. So
Shayna's like, this is too good. You're going to watch this video again. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're doing a checklist. Like, we had a list of expectations, like what we expect from our partners, our values, our green flags, our red flags, our non-negotiables, which are the red flags, and things that are just, comme ça. And
Yeah.
then,
Use the mic from Mike.
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And then after the list was done, I was looking at the list. I was like, oh, she checked a lot on this side.
Say that again?
She checked off almost everything on the list. I didn't mention
When
that.
you looked at her list.
When I looked at my own list.
Oh, when you look at her own list and then you assess her,
Yeah.
and you say she would check those
I'm
boxes.
like, oh, okay. But I always said we're friends, so I'm not going to say nothing.
Right.
So we're friends.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there was a moment where you thought it and then you didn't say anything to her.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm like,
Bamgade.
yeah.
Yeah. M'suive.
And then there was another situation where we were dating, and like I said, we were best friends for a long time, and the transition was rough. Like it just felt like we were still friends with a title instead of boyfriend and girlfriend. And we're looking at a relationship seriously. We're like, is this actually going to work out? And when we were able to actually be intentional and work through that, that was one of the lowest points in our relationship. And once we got past that point and we were actually able to come together, that's when I was like, okay, if I could go through this, I'm pretty sure I could go through anything. So
It's good. We've stood the test. Awesome. Yeah. When did you know you no longer wanted to be friends with them? Or just friends?
I would similarly, the checklist was something, and I think he told the story wrong, but it's fine.
No, tell it straight, girl. We're live.
I made my own, and I was talking to him, and I was telling him, you need to find somebody, you need to make your own. And that's how it happened. We didn't make it together. I made my own, and then he made his later, because I told him to.
Ain't it funny how the stories change over time? Like she taught herself Creole. I got it.
But I think for me, when I knew the transition for us becoming, like going from, hey, we're friends to, hey, we are boyfriend and girlfriend was kind of fast. And I guess I knew kind of early, like, hey, if he is so he is very intentional about wanting to date me. He is not giving me any sign of hesitation. He's telling me very upfront. He's very clear with what he wants. I think that's very, very early on. It's like, oh, okay, if he can do this, then that means that I can see this going.
Got it. Okay, cool. Trials. So, to our single folks, Malik, you are single with prospects of one prospect. One prospect. Let me correct my grammar. One prospect, okay, of going further. So, very light question for you. How'd y'all meet?
I like answering that question because
Okay.
what's funny is we went to the same high school. We had the same class, and she had to remind me that we were in the same class because when I was in the class, I remember saying what's up to her, but that's all it was. Like, it wasn't a communication type of thing.
Got
so
it.
we basically re-met in college because we went to the same college as well, and that's when we started to move
Man, you got a testimony, brother. I missed it in high school,
Nah, I ain't missing high school.
and God sent her to college. If you don't see it this time, brother. Okay, awesome. I love it. I love it. Cute meat, or meet cute, however you say that there. Okay, awesome. So, maybe, Bernice, you can kind of tell us something, right? What? Why y'all laughing? And look, this is a serious conversation because this is life. But at this point where you're not dating, what would you say has somewhat kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say turned you off or maybe discourage the process. I don't want to say that, but something like that. What just left like a just not so pleasant taste,
Okay, just to be clear, I'm not discouraged or anything, but slightly confused on the environment for dating. Like, people just make it sound a little easier. Like, yeah, just go to the mall, or go to church, or go to work. What if you work from home? Like, so I think it's more of like I'm open, but more so, okay, where am I being intentional at? The environments. I guess that's the turn off.
The turn off. And so in the environments, if I hear what you're saying, nothing is showing up in the environments.
Yeah, in a sense, I can kind of blame myself for that because I'm around the same people all the time. My family.
Hey, we got friends, that went from friends, so.
I ain't got no friends like
that. You ain't got no.
Yeah.
You got too much family around.
It's kind of like I have to be more bold in the places that I go to because a lot of times I'm constantly going to family functions where it's just like I'm related to them or they already engaged or that's it. So it's more about venturing out past my family, past my friend circle. And I guess being more adventurous, where to find them.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like it. Sounds like you had even a bit of a reflective moment there when you say, venturing, right? Because that is a bit of an action verb. And if they don't venture to you, you're gonna have to venture. Okay, got it. Finding, creating. Awesome. Okay, cool. So. Now, back to this side over here. We have some questions that we want to get your take on. You probably saw some of these questions. But here's some of the things that's top of mind for single folks. How long does dating have to last? Now, I know Malik is in the running right now. So, there's a bit of a time. So I'm going to ask my first married couple, how long does dating have to take? Who'd like to go first? And please, don't say what, a number? Don't say wait on the Lord.
Pray until it's right.
Yeah, don't say pray until something happens. Let's kind of break it down and take some practical approach to this.
I think it will probably happen. I can't pronounce the word, but trying to say with the time frame is just you making a deadline. So sometimes if you put a date or time, you might be discouraged if you don't reach that. Yeah. So really, it's just. I know once me and Liz, when we finished college, it seems like we got a job, and I think when we did that for us, and it might be different for everybody. Yeah. Right. So the time frame is different for me and than you. So it could have been right when you started, you dated for 2 years, and you say it's time to get married. Yeah. So I feel like some people are saying get married. Get married quickly so you don't fall into temptation if you find that right person.
That's right. You should say that again and say it slow.
If you don't
get married
so you don't fall into temptation, right? Yeah. So because if you find that right person, you really attract to that person. Yeah, and that is it. When I was looking at Liz, yes, that was kind of what helped us was distance. We moved from different places, so if we're in the same place, we'll probably get married sooner.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Got it. Okay. I like as soon as he started talking about that, he started stuttering. Like, when I saw Liz, I was like, I got to get married. I'm going to move away. All right. So, Yeah. How long do you think? And then, by the way, how long did y'all date before you got married?
Yeah. No, no. So,
Let's agree on this a bit.
for me, I think it's more of a level of maturity. If you already know what you want and that person is it, they check the boxes, or well, you always say don't say pray. So
Well, I kind of have a question right there. When you say level of maturity, right? I know conceptually, it makes sense, right? Somebody has to be mature. Is it you or is it him? And
I want to say you, because you can't go in expecting him
so
to.
you yourself,
Yeah.
you looked at your own level of maturity.
Yeah, your own level of maturity. Can you handle it? It's pretty when we having the ceremony and we have this big reception and stuff, but that's not it.
Mm-hmm.
So can you handle what's coming after? Or even if you can't handle, are you able to stand through it? I guess then you go back to what's the purpose, the intention of this relationship?
Okay.
We both have that saying, divorce is not in our vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
And that was since we were dating. Divorce is not in our vocabulary. So no matter what's going on, no matter what's happening, we got to stick through it.
Right.
We can't run away.
Yeah.
And stuff. So that level of maturity, how much can I handle through? How much can I support?
Right.
Or, through after I said I do and stuff.
So beyond dating.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Okay. So you got to check yourself and see if you already have the level of maturity for what comes next beyond dating. Okay. And then your time frame was what, 5 years? 5 years?
Yeah, about 5.
5 years? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. What about you guys, married couples on this side?
So I guess we dated for like a year and a half, something like that.
Okay.
A year and a
But
half.
like best friends forever and then dated for a year?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So I agree. I don't believe there's a specific timeline that you have to put on it. It definitely depends on maturity. It definitely depends on whether or not you're intentional and having open conversations, because that's what helped us feel comfortable. Because we were like, oh, this is kind of short. Like, should we be dating longer? Should we be? But what we did is we actually sat down and we wrote down, what are we looking for in a spouse? What do we want marriage to look like? Why do we want to get married? And we just had a bunch of questions that we just asked ourselves to where we felt satisfied enough that we could work our way through any type of situation that may arise. Not to say that these are our answers forever. They're going to change, and we're going to be reassessing those as we go in our relationship. But if we can have these upfront conversations and really dig deeper on them now, then it made us feel a lot more comfortable to get married as early as we did.
As you did. Awesome. Okay, cool. Take a stab at it.
My answer is similar to hers. I do believe it depends on your maturity, where you are in life, how old you are. And
when you say where you are in life, just a little bit more specific. Are you talking about, like, are you at your mama's house still?
Yeah.
Type of where you are in life?
At your mom's house, and you could be like, nothing wrong with being at your mom's house, but if you don't have anything
going for you.
Yeah, going for you, or your life is not really on track. Like, if you don't know what you want for yourself, it's going to be hard to find someone and get past the dating stage.
Yeah.
So
that's important, right?
Yeah.
Because, I think what happens around that stage of life is you can be overwhelmed by the emotions also of, I want to start my life. I want companionship. And the strength of the emotion can sometimes look like readiness. Because I feel it so strongly, I must be ready. Otherwise, I wouldn't be so overwhelmed with it. Is that lending? Hello? Okay. This is not TV. I can see you guys out here. Okay, that's really important. Thanks for calling that out. Malik, what's your take on the whole timing thing. And, I get it. Your girl is here. You're kind of on the hot seat, dead center of the stage. But, like, what's your take on the whole timing thing? I mean, you're in the running.
That's a fascinating question.
It is a fascinating question.
Depending on my answer, Zaria may get a little more excited than she needs to.
Okay.
But honestly, to me, how I'm analyzing it, maturity is a big thing. But honestly, once I see that we're both aligned, because we're both aligned in terms of kind of what we want, but once we're both working towards it at the same pace, then to me, that's when I'll be able to make that decision and make sure that we're ready. So I feel like we both have to be working towards the same thing and kind of at the same pace. Yeah. Of course, one person could maybe be a little more in front than the other, but as long as we're moving on the same track and we know where our trajectory is, that's when I think it's time to.
And this is really great because we're saying similar things, and I'll kind of summarize after I hear from Bernice. But what are some of the conversations that you have to get that alignment? I can only imagine that we're out on a date and we're having dinner and we could be talking about anything else, but at some point we need to steer the conversation. I'm assuming at some point. I remember when I said, hey, babe, God is calling me to ministry. I might do this pastor thing. We were at Captain D's.
I remember that.
You remember that conversation, right? And that was important because we needed to make sure that we get alignment on that. And I was, so strong on that. This is going to impact you as well because you ain't imagine yourself being a mumpas.
No.
Ooh. Okay. We're going to come to you next.
But yes, I could answer that as well. So honestly, a lot of the times when we're going out on dates, a lot of the things I'm asking is kind of how does she want it to look like? How does she view marriage? How does she view kind of her role? And then I'll speak on kind of the things that I feel like I need to be doing. And then, of course, we'll potentially talk about if we're planning on having kids or other different things like that as well, just to see if our standard and our foundation is solid.
Yeah.
Of course, how we want to raise the family or bring up the family, if in terms of starting the foundation at a church, which church, and different things of that nature. So those are sometimes the conversations that we have, whether that's through dinner or through over the phone or in person. It's just different things just to kind of see where your girlfriend or your boyfriend is, where their head's at, what they're thinking. And if you're thinking something differently, talk to her or him about that and then explain why you view it this way and why she may view it that way.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that we may view differently, but if we're able to come to consensus on why we feel that way, it will allow both parties to better understand it.
There's something we skipped here, and it's critical as a foundation for this conversation, is that everyone on this stage here, they're all believers. That is foundational. Because it's easy to miss what you just said there when you're saying we're sitting having dinner and then we're talking about life in that aspect. If that person is not even there and they don't even value those things, I would imagine it's difficult or even cringy to bring up that kind of a conversation. Would you say, knowing her, as I'm assuming, because I don't know her now, she is a believer?
She is a believer.
She is a believer. She's at your church?
She is not at my church.
Not at your church. Okay. But would you say that has been foundational to the type of conversations that you can have when you're looking to make that alignment?
Yes. And also, it's very important because we're probably not on the same trajectory in terms of how strong my faith is and how strong hers is. But I think it's also important for that partner to be open to going to church, going to do different events, because I also think it's very important for you to pour into your partner as well.
Amen.
So even if we're not on the same speed or same track, for them to be open and have a welcoming of being a believer or having a welcoming of trying to learn more about their faith is very important. Yeah. So that's something that everyone needs to kind of point out and look at is their intent, their devotion for wanting to learn more. If you could tell that they want to learn more and they're inquiring more information, then you know you have the right one because you could build with this person.
That's good. That's good for a single man. It's really great. So Bernice, you have an option. Since you're going to, take the last comment here on this question, you could answer and give your version of what everybody's asked in terms of the timeline, Or you can answer this question or speak to this. What are you finding out there in the environments is the general take on timeline? In other words, what are these guys talking about when it comes to getting serious? What is that conversation like in that world?
Well, from what I can see from my past experiences, it varies. There are some experiences I've had where guys may say a lot of good things, like, as far as like the timeline goes, I want to be able to get married at this point. I want to settle down. I want to have this, that, and the third. It's like they give solid answers, but until you start dissecting it and asking them, well, okay, so you want to have this particular job and you want to make this kind of money before you get married. What does that actually look like? What's the timeline for it? And it's crickets. So it's like false advertising. I put it that way, because sometimes we do a lot of practice. Not we, I don't do that. Sometimes people may do a lot of practice to get their foot in the door for good conversation or for dating and stuff. But when same like Malika saying, you have those sit down talks, you start dissecting things. It's like you're not on anything. You're not ready. It's like you kind of rehearse interview questions, but then I have a few bullet points, and you're like, I don't really know. So I think for me personally, if I could just put this in there, I feel like age also plays a part in the timeline. For me, in the age range that I'm in and the maturity level that I've gotten into, my time limit has shortened.
Yeah, like what we're doing here, bro. Yeah.
It's like, because we're in the same space, if I'm being intentional, you're being intentional, and you think I look good, we gotten past that part. Now it's like, okay, what do we want? And it's like you're a straight shooter at that point, because we're reaching that age, we've reached that maturity level, we both love God, and it goes past the milk, but the meat version, we understand what we want to the point where it's just like, if we're on the same page, let's just move forward. Once God puts his thing on it and we know what it is, dum dum da dum.
The bells. Is it fair to assume that if we both know what we want and we've already, kind of ironed that out, and we're not making progress, we're not making that move, then maybe we're just not the ones we want to do that with? Is it fair to assume that?
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
We can just
Yeah.
wrap it up.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I love the way she said that, because I got a feeling that there's a whole attitude about that. Like, hey, we need to wrap this up, because what are we doing? I like that. Okay, cool. I hope that just kind of helps somebody here. Now, lastly, our dating timeline was a bit extra. Tell the people why it took so long.
Waiting on you.
Now you got to say a little bit more. It's just a little bit, because brothers dying out here looking like I just, didn't know what I wanted. Yeah.
No,
What were the circumstances?
I think you should say something about
Yes.
that, because we met while we were in college. So I think it's more of waiting for you to be ready for us to take the next step.
That's right. So, how long was it?
8 years.
Hey, it just took me a minute to get ready, y'all. It took me a minute to get ready. So I said that on purpose because I do want to summarize what everybody's been saying here. And in our case, this was, extreme, because alignment, right, means that we have to agree to certain things. One of the things that we agreed on before was that we were going to both be out of college. We were both going to be done with school, and we were going to be professionals. And I think we spent a lot of our time also envisioning our life as a married couple being professionals. And so what that meant for us was, she was already on track. Like I said, baby girl just had her stuff going. for me, I was like, I could do this music thing. I could kind of do this thing here. I'll stay at mom's house. Yeah. So by the time I figured it out and went away to college, she was coming into Georgia for college, and I was leaving Georgia for college. But I knew that this would be the person that I come back for. So no matter how long it took, I'm grateful you waited. 8 years. When you say it like that, and we were also young. We met the year, or maybe the year after you guys moved to Atlanta. So it was just like we had that serious approach to it early on. So that's why 8 years. Otherwise, we were 19. In a Haitian household, nothing is happening at 19. Pastor's kids, nothing is happening at 19. And so that's why it took that long. But alignment, making sure that, we have that compatibility. And then you said it, beyond dating, right? So if we want to be professionals when we get married, then we have to agree on that now. And it's going to impact the decisions that we make right now. Like, it's okay, you're going to be away, I'm going to be away, but this is what we're agreeing to. So that takes something, but that is the foundation of that. Okay, cool. So we got just about 10 minutes left. Should we hear from the audience and hear their questions? All right, y'all. It's time to bring it, and bring it really quick, bring it really fast. What's top of mind? What's the question that you have that you want to ask? And there are no bad questions. Yeah, we got one. Somebody's going to kick us off. And if nobody does, I got more questions, but we got one. We got two. Okay, get to the mic, get to the mic.
Okay. Could I go first? Okay.
You should definitely go first. He's married.
Okay. No problem.
I think I see him. Move the mic away from the speakers.
Okay.
Oh, you're going to get feedback.
Is this
There you go, Jamie. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Hi, guys.
Hi, Vat.
Okay, so I have two questions. I hope that's okay. So the first one is for the married women on the stage. And then I do have a question for the single woman as well. So the first one for the married women. In your marriage, and dealing with men is always a walk in the park. It's so much fun. When there are times where it's not so fun, how do you find the ability to still tend to him? So meaning there could have been a bad week or a day of arguing and just going back and forth, or just, not arguing, but heated discussion and disagreements. How do you still cook his dinner? How do you still prepare his lunch, iron his clothes? Seriously, because when you're feeling it, how do you set your feelings to the side? That's what I want to know. And also, for the married men, if you'd like to answer that.
We can answer too?
You can answer if you'd like.
All right. I'll tell you how you cook my meal. So who would like to go first?
I'll go first. I think that's a really great question. What you have to remember is that when you decided to say that I want to do life with you, and it's not just temporary, this is for life, then sometimes you're no longer living just by feelings. So there's going to be times that you guys not going to be in agreement, but it's the commitment that you made, that you said that this is the person I'm doing life with forever. So it's not going to always you're not going to always have good times, smiling all the time. He's going to make you upset, but you still got to remember this is the person that you love and you're saying I do to. So you still have to do your duties, which is to take care of this person that you love, because that person is now you. So you can't ignore yourself, not to feed yourself, not to take care of yourself. So you got to do the same thing for that person.
Yeah. And yeah, y'all go ahead and clap. That's my wife. Go ahead. And I would say, to attest to what you're saying, not answering your question, but what my experience of my wife is that she's not wavering. We're not going to go here and there. I'm here, and I'm here for life. I'm nutty. So what that means is, like I get ideas. I'm a creative, some people would say, and I might want to move to New York. And to me, that makes a lot of sense. And this is what we're going to do. And whatever impact it has on our family, we'll just have to figure that out. That was the time, that was the conversation. But even though those are difficult conversations to have, my experience of her is that she's not wavering. I'm still going to have her. And sometimes we're not having all the conversations the way we normally do. It's not friendly, It's okay, yeah, the food is here. Go eat. It's in the fridge, right? Sometimes that's the case. But I think what gives me peace is not whether there's still a meal there, is that there's still my wife there. And that gives me a lot of peace. Yeah. Yeah. That was good too. Hashtag, let's go.
And I did have a question for Bernice. And then also Malik, actually, you can answer this too. Another thing, Bernice and Malik. So in your season of like, okay, Bernice, you're, not really like out there, but just kind of knowing and being confident of where you're at. How do you do that when there could be so many like outside voices kind of telling you, well, and the pressure, like, when are you going to get married? When are you going to find a man? How do you deal with that? Like, how do you find the motivation to stay true to yourself and also what God is even calling you to do right now?
Come on, Hillary.
It's me building my relationship with God first is what allowed me to be confident in where I am right now. When I was more in a space where it's like I love him, but our relationship wasn't that strong, the way people would approach me in my singleness or how I would look at dating as a whole or being single around people who are married and engaged, it had me a little bit more insecure. But it's the fact that now I'm stronger with God. That is where my confidence comes from. I know it sounds cliche, but when your life is transformed in that sense, it's like you can go about things differently. It's the faith that gives you the boldness to stand in where you are. So yes, I'm a little bit seasoned in age, but I know that because my relationship with God is stronger, my discernment is stronger. It's like if God knows the desires of my heart, then I know that I'm going the way he wants me to go, everything's going to fall in line. And then when people have something to say pray. Tell them to pray.
All right. Say it, girl.
That was a good answer. Hopefully my answer is just as good.
Just as good.
Honestly, to answer your question, I'll answer it two ways, and I'll try to be extremely quick with it. So before, like in your singleness, honestly, I think it's very important. It's very cliche. Everyone says, like, I want to work on myself, but are you really doing that? Is the question. So big thing for me, especially, of course, before I was with Zaria, when I was single, you got to be confident in yourself and what you bring. You got to know what you're going to bring. And when you know that, it's easier for you to search out kind of what you may be missing, quote unquote. I know for me, with Zaria, what I love about her is she brings me peace. So I know I can chill. I ain't got to worry about nothing. She's locked in.
Yeah.
Now, to answer it on the stage we're in currently, because you'll always, especially the Haitians, when are you getting married? When are you going to ask her? When are you getting the ring? So those questions are always fun too. But honestly, you kind of got to you got to have a little bit of tunnel vision and just really have that conversation with your partner. And whenever you guys feel you're most ready, and when God is saying now is the time, is when you take that step. So everyone's gonna say it, especially you already know once y'all go to a wedding, now everybody's ready for the next one. So you gotta know that noise is gonna come, but you still have to realize it's still about what me and Zaria want, or what me and X, Y, and Z want. So it's still about what God wants for you guys, and then what your intentions are. So all that to say, you're going to hear the noise, but do not worry about the noise. If it's what you guys want to do, then take it. If it's not, then wait until you guys are ready.
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you, Hillary. And that's one of the things one of the products of the finding mindset is, dealing with that noise. We look for external validation. We do things and get other people's feedback. Oh my gosh, I just heard what I said. We do things and get the world's feedback on how we're doing. And if the world likes it, we do more of it. Wow. Vendor, you ready to talk to us?
Yep. Hello, test mic.
You can bring the stand up. I mean, we know you touched the ceiling. It's all right.
So my question is for all the married people. When it comes to dating, when you start dating, and you're in your single life or whatnot, you saw lovebirds and stuff like that. How do you maintain that relationship during the dating phase when you're married? Because you're now together, you're now working. Some couples, they don't even see each other throughout the day much. They probably see each other, if anything, maybe 5 hours out the week. So how do you maintain dating?
That's great.
The question is, you don't know. Just kidding. It is. You're right. Some couples, they don't see each other. But I know for me, I'm always nagging Gene, let's go somewhere. And he knows. And that's what I say. He makes me, he put up with all my craziness. I'm always telling him, well, we got to go somewhere. We got to do something. But I like, how Pastor Enna said, Jess is settled.
Yeah.
Gene's the same way. He'll listen, but he'll keep me grounded and stuff. And then he'll wait when I'm least expected and say, let's go somewhere. So it makes it even more special, not that he's not jumping on when I say, even though it aches me sometimes, but he makes it special and just, why don't we go somewhere on Friday? Or I was just going to take you there. Sometimes I guess myself before he does it. But yes, it is very important to keep that dating. And sometimes it's not. And we've become, now that we have kids, you got to spend more and stuff. We've learned it's not just going to an expensive restaurant or whatever. It could be something easy as let's watch a movie together. The kids are on their own, or let's just go to a breakfast together. That's dating, it's very, something that's very important to keep during marriage.
That's a great answer. And thank you, Vendor, for that question. And I also want to underline that the intention behind whatever it is that we do. If eating out is something you already do, that might not be an intended activity for dating, right? So you got to look for that thing and bring the intention. Oh, we got a single man. Bring the intention into it. Go ahead, Joshua. What's on your mind, brother?
My question is, when you're single, what should you do to improve on yourself?
I'll let one of the experts, but definitely make sure you scan the QR code that you're about to see after this. We are, SUV Enterprises is committed to delivering something in terms of ongoing self-development. And because it's not academic, a lot of times people don't give self-development, professional development importance. But you do need something that takes you beyond just academic studies. That's your brain, right? But self-development is, how do you approach a young woman that you're very attracted to, and there's got to be something you say to break the ice, right? You got to be able to have that confidence. That same confidence translates into, how do you have small talk in a sales conversation or when you're trying to win someone within your company. That's self-development, personal development, and that's professional development. So make sure you scan that QR code because I want to hear your feedback. We asked some questions that's going to help us to structure something that we can consistently offer, and hopefully next year, advertisement, plug. Next year, we are doing something with the Chamber of Commerce, the Haitian Chamber of Commerce. It's mainly for entrepreneurs, but we are talking about things like that. Because believe it or not, you are the same person wherever you go. Whether it is your business, whether it is a company, whether it is in your relationship, it's the same you. So if there's a shy you here, when you're not happy with your partner, you're not saying anything. And guess what? You become more frustrated, and before you know it, any little thing they do, boom, time bomb. Simply because you're shy to say certain things. That's personal development. That's probably the golden question tonight. I said too much. Let me let one of the experts.
I guess I'll go. I guess it definitely will take a level of self-reflection and asking yourself, where am I at and what do I want to be? What are the steps I have to take to get there? And on the dating side as well, you can also ask yourself, well, what kind of partner do I want? And what steps do I need to take to be worthy of that type of partner? I feel like that's kind of the best way to really go about it. If anybody wants to say something.
Girl, you in the seminar. You in the seminar. Awesome. Anybody else want to take a stab at that? Did you have a follow-up question?
I
Awesome.
wanted to add something. I think also when you're single, that is the best opportunity to find yourself and know yourself. And of course, I mean, we're in church, so it's really that relationship with God. You need to know who God is in your life, building that relationship with him. And in building that relationship, you come to find yourself. You get to know who you are. And then now there's certain things that you won't accept from anybody. So you might find a female that approach you. You got to know that's not the female, because you love yourself, you know what you can give. So then now that person is not it, you can tell, because you've been growing yourself in Christ. So I think it is just important that when you're single, it says in the Bible that when you're single, that's when you get to serve Christ the most.
That's right.
Because when you're married, you're so busy, you can't do it the same way. But when you're single, you give yourself to Christ. And I think that was one thing that I did. I was very involved when I was single. That to the point that I love doing things with youth. I love going to every service opportunity that you get to meet people. So it's really focusing on you. You have the opportunity to know who you are. And at that time, when it's time to find somebody, it's going to come easily, because now you know what you want and you don't want. Yeah.
That's good. Oh, Jamie is at the mic. Okay.
Yay.
Let's go with it then.
So, two questions, but I might just say one. When it comes to getting married, finances, like, how does that work? How do y'all divvy that up? What's the plan? Like,
All right, well,
what's y'all strategy?
I'm going to say something and just let them talk, okay? When it comes to marriage, you said, or dating? Marriage, okay. Well, y'all going to laugh. What's yours is hers. And what's hers is hers.
Okay.
All right, somebody else answer.
I think he said it all. Well, you did start it. What's yours is hers, and what's hers got to be yours. I've seen it both ways. Some works and some doesn't work. Whereas you go into the marriage, oh, this is my account, my check coming here. Oh, tell me what bills you want me to pay, then I'll just transfer it and stuff. But I've seen it the other way, which is what we do. Like, I can go into his account and transfer money to my account. He can do the same. So it's like, this is not yours, or this is not yours, this is not mine. We're one. The bills, we both are spending the light, we both have a house, a roof over our head, we both are eating in the house, so it can't be, this is your, tell me how much light that you spend. So I could charge, right. Tell me how much you spend. If we're gonna go that route, okay, tell me how much TV do you watch? How much internet do you see what I'm saying? Like, once you start doing like, what this is my account, this is my check, this is what I make, then you're creating that competition issue in the house. And when there's a problem, a lot of times I've seen it, and couples, the first thing that comes up is that, well, I make more money than you. Mm-hmm. Are we one or are we two? Mm-hmm. One or two? So you kind of, and then that's what it comes where you're dating, you talk about that. You have to talk about, what do you think about it? And you have to know, where do you stand? What do you want to see in your marriage? How do you want it to play out? Like me and Jean, we never wanted to see like there's two people. You got to see one person. And the kids got to see one person in the house. And God got to see one person in the house. So the finance got to, if I'm giving a special offering and I know it's going to come out of, even if it's my own account, I got to tell him, because it's one account. It doesn't matter if my name's only on it or his name's only on it. When the bill comes, we both got to pay it.
I have something to say.
You say
too.
that, okay.
So piggybacking off what you said, we started off with the separate, okay, send the bills, send the money, send this. When I tell you, it's the most stressful thing in the world, because it's like, well, you didn't send the money. You were supposed to pay this. It doesn't work. Trust me, it doesn't work. When we combined everything and all the checks were going in one place and all the money, like we had, everything was transparent and everything was up front. When I tell you, our financial problems just kind of like disappeared. It, not completely, but it was so minimal that it was not even a conversation anymore. It's like, okay, well, we know the bills are going to get paid because the money is there. We know what's there. We know what we can use. And if there's any large, purchases we have to make or things like that, we just communicate that, because it's our money. We're together. We're one relationship. We got married, so we are one person, one entity, so it's ours.
Yes.
Yeah. That's good. Awesome.
So, one more question, quick question. Since all the guys are there, are in a relationship, I just want to know, what are the best pickup lines that y'all had, that y'all could let the single people know?
Yeah.
Just
Man,
wanna know what
you getting your money's worth. I love that, Jamie. It's like, give me the pickup lines.
Man, that's a good question, man. That's a good question.
I'm gonna let the single guy, single in progress.
Honestly, to be completely honest with you, like one pickup line ain't gonna be it. Honestly, like not gonna lie to you, because most of them are a little cringy. You gotta make yourself stand out. You have to do one thing to make yourself stand out, to where after you leave, she's like, oh, okay. Like, I'm gonna remember him. Whether that's a compliment, whether that's something you say, or maybe something you don't say. Maybe you say a compliment and then you're out of there. You want to sometimes create some of that attraction afterwards too, if that makes sense. So I would say don't worry too much about one line, but worry more so about your eye contact, how you're looking at her, and what she could pick up without you saying something. And then when it's time for you to say something, you're going to be locked in.
Did you get that? All right. Did you want from all of us?
Another question. No.
Oh, we have another question. Okay, cool. Did anybody else have something? Okay. Mine is simple, Jamie. It's like, what are you doing for the rest of your life? And if we align on that, we're good. Yes, sir.
How you guys doing?
We're all right. Hot, blinded by the lights, but go ahead.
I guess this would go towards the married couple. What advice could you guys give to keep the marriage long and lasting? Because I know there's a lot of years up there, the friendship's been long. So what advice could you guys give to keep the marriage lasting?
Married people. Okay, listen. Here's the question. What advice would you give to keep the marriage lasting? Okay, so in other words, what's the advice to stay married? All right.
I think that is just doing the simple things, right? We think everything has to be so big that's the big occasion to, let's go out on a big date. But it doesn't take that. Sometimes it's just saying, I make a surprise meal. I put the grill out. I make a steak, lobster, potatoes, and you do all that. So, you put it out there.
I don't know,
you put the
bro.
meal that the person likes.
Okay.
You put the bar too hot?
Yeah,
it was too hot.
You creating expectations out here.
You do. I think it's the small things that you do. You compliment the person. Liz, likes to say, she's very beautiful. You look beautiful today. You do those simple things. It doesn't have to be anything large, throughout the time to keep that romance and that love alive.
That's good. That's good. Who else? Yes, sir.
I think communication and conflict resolution, because if you don't have conflict resolution, if you do have conflict resolution, you'll be able to get over any kind of conflict. And you have to have a level of communication that's uncomfortable too. You can't just say what you want to say, how you want to say it at any time. You have to be considerate to that other person, and just be able to. You have to be able to think about like the conflict you're having, and instead of me versus you, you have to say it's us versus the problem.
Yeah.
Even though it's not gonna feel like it.
Yeah.
It's not gonna feel like it. Trust me. But
Yeah.
you have to be like it's me and my wife, or me and my
Swallow
person,
it in it. Yeah.
versus whatever conflict we're having.
That's
and
right.
Then communicate properly with each other.
That's right.
Because you can talk to each other, but if you're not communicating in the way they'll be able to hear you,
Yeah.
it's gonna go in one ear and out the other.
That's right.
It might make the situation worse. So I think that.
Did you get that? You want the preacher's version? Yeah, the preacher's version is y'all got to come together and say, "Get thee behind me, Satan." Like you got to learn how to do that together and say, "Look, this ain't about me and you. There's a third party in here that don't belong in here." So you got to, woo! Y'all was ready for church. Y'all was ready for church. And I'd say something from my personal life. That personal development, growth and development is so important. What I dealt with was this insecurity with myself. You don't have a shot at staying married if you don't resolve you. I dealt with this insecurity of nobody is really for me. Nobody. Everybody just wants something from me. No one is really for me. And I look for evidence in all of my relationships in life that no one is really ever for me. At some point, you're going to leave. At some point, I'm going to do something and I'm going to say something. You're going to change your mind about who you thought I was, and you're going to go. And I lived with that for so long. My poor wife, at some point, got the stress test because I want you to prove to me that you're really for me. Don't stress test your partner. Okay? If your partner said yes to you, take the yes and build on the yes. Don't do the petty stuff to see is she really rocking with me? No. Take the yes. Because I can't tell you how many nights I stayed up asking, well, why did you say yes to me? Did you really love me? Was it peer pressure? I mean, I know I got the pickup lines. Maybe it was something like that, right? And she could never satisfy that question because it was something for myself that I had to resolve. And when I was able to let go of that insecurity, when I was able to let go that, you know what, this is something that I made up. Who said no one is for me and everybody just wants something from me? People appreciate me. So that's why they would want something from me, as opposed to, oh, you want something and I'm running, and if you say you love me, you got to prove it. And I make you go through everything. And it was never fair for her when we were having these conversations. So nowadays what I do, you should smile when I say this, every morning after I drop off the kids, I'm reminded of my baby mama. And then I text her and I'm like, have a great day at work. And she'll text me back sometimes. Most times she just love emoji, and that's it. But after almost 20 years now married, I'm more and more present to the gift that I have in her. So I feel like it's now that I'm able to do that part of the vows, to cherish. To cherish. That's in the vow. When you get married, it's to love and to protect and to provide and all of that. And then there is to actually cherish, like, dang, I got you. Don't I say thank you when you put the laundry in my drawer? All the time. And then sometimes I catch myself like, why am I still saying thank you? This is just what she does. She don't say thank you when I cut the grass, but you know, I just love the fact that I have her and she's consistently there doing those things. And I can't tell you how many times I would have just given up on me, period. I was not worth keeping myself if it wasn't for her actually giving herself to me. Then the least I could do is be a yes to me for her sake. All right. So Jamie's like, that's it. We're taking the mics away, Pastor. We got church tomorrow. All right. So.
There's a question.
There was one more. Come on, girl. We're here for you. We're here for you. I'm sorry. That was a question. Y'all take that up with the organizers after we're done here. But yes. Hello, Junior.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
I'll take it light so that way we're not.
No, just go where you go with it. We're here for you.
I could be one or two questions. I have just one for Bernice. Or it could go for Malik too. That's fine. The first one is dating websites. How do you feel about them? What's your experience with them? And married couples could answer that too. Not the ones who've been married over 20 years. They weren't.
Yeah, we ain't even had like the web like that, but.
You can go first.
My answer is going to be short. I've never used one, so I don't know how it would be. So I'm sorry I couldn't provide more for you for that question, but I've never used one. It's always been a personal interaction, personal connection. Typically, I can give my opinion. Typically, I think that may be the most, probably the strongest connection you'll get is when you're able to have those personal encounters. Because I think the online encounter at first is sometimes just a face. Now, of course, you could plan to meet up, but I feel like it's better to get that first impression of what you think a person is seeing them, or being able to touch or move or kind of feel how they're even walking, talking, how they look, and their vibe. So that's what I would say for that.
I've done my fair share of swiping. Left and right.
Can you say that again for the English-speaking people to understand?
I have swiped left and right. I would say the same intention you would have with going out in person to meet somebody. If you're going to be on that app, you need to have the same mindset because people play games either way, you know. So my piece of advice, if you would like to go on a dating app, because I have nothing against them, to still have that intention. But let's say if you were to swipe right and they swipe right too and you match, let not more than 2 weeks go by before you see that person. FaceTime and then meet in person. Preferably have somebody have your location because kidnapping is real. But I don't have anything against the app because it's just another way to venture out into the dating world, and God still works. I've seen various people get married through the dating app, and if you have that strong discernment, he will tell you to delete the app, as he did me, so I deleted that.
That was good. That was good.
I'm kind of with you on getting rid of the apps. But I'll leave it at just that question.
No. Let's go for the second one. That's fine. Yeah. What's the second one?
Okay. The other one was, what are your guys' advice, or what do you think about dating multiple people at once?
I had that question for y'all. Thank you for asking it.
That's a good one.
Well, let me caveat something. Let me distinguish something here. Because there is, one side of dating multiple people at once that we know is like, hey, I'm committed to you and I'm committed to you, and really I'm not committed to any. Okay. All right? And then there is hey, I'm talking to multiple people, I'm developing interests, right, in parallel direction. So now what do I do because I can't move forward in the same direction with the both of them? Yes. Is that kind of like it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm talking to multiple people and I'm developing the same interests. And the question is, what do you do?
Like, what are your thoughts on that?
What are your thoughts?
Yes, great question. Honestly, like Past kind of just broke down, to me, you can't date more than one person at once, but if you're in the talking stage, I think it's perfectly okay for you to venture out, I would say, or talk to multiple people to see what you really like and who basically strikes the most attention to you and who fits with you best, that you best see fit. So I would say that's where it kind of gets different. So I think it's more than okay to talk to multiple people. Now, you should be honest with them and let them know that, you're talking to multiple people. Some of us are not, but you need to be. You need to be for sure, just so they kind of know what to expect, so they're not blindsided. So I would say, okay to talk to multiple people, not okay to date, because I feel like once you're dating, you've already kind of made your choice.
It takes something to say that I'm talking to multiple people. Well, how would that sit with you?
I agree with most of what you said, besides the dating, because you gotta date both of them to get to know them. But once you're like seriously dating, like you're seeing this person all the time, then I would feel like maybe you should tell the other person, hey, I'm seriously dating this person. What do you feel about that? Do you want to step up, or should we just step apart and let me just focus on this person?
Well,
Got it.
well, if you exclusively dating one, that means you already scrapped the other, right?
You're not exclusively dating yet. You're just seeing that one more, but you are seeing this one. So this is, I don't know, adding a lot more.
No. This is why we have to have the sequel. We definitely got to have a follow-up. And I'm making a great note of where we're ending here. No pressure to the organizers, but maybe we need to follow up.
I think so.
I think so, because it makes sense to say that, hey, I am speaking with multiple people, but it also comes from a very different mindset. It is someone who's very intentional to say, hey, you know what? As I'm talking to you, I'm also actively talking to someone else, because ordinarily we keep all of our eggs in one basket, and we don't usually let one hen know what the other hen is doing, because we need all of them juggling just in case one fall and crack. Did that land?
Yes, but you could also, like, if you're keeping all your eggs in one basket, I'm just going on your...
Yes.
Like, if you're focusing so much on this person, and then all of a sudden that doesn't work out, and then you left this great people down by the wayside, you let it go. So
Yeah.
it's like, you just continue?
Yeah. Junior, you definitely got us for next time.
Answering my own question, and
I feel like you're kind of getting there. That's right.
Original question.
That's right. And remember, I said this was an 8-part conversation. We go into that. Okay. When I say we are, I'm prophesying, are going to go into that so we can look at some of the underlying stuff that's there. Sometimes it's not what you don't know about the other person. It's what you actually don't even know about you that's at play. And it doesn't even matter about the other person. And until that becomes clear. So we're going to get into that. And then there's also like limiting beliefs, things that just kind of really keeps you right here, as opposed to going to what you know is for you. Because sometimes that gets into a game that we don't really have the rules to play, if that makes sense. We're jumping into, I don't want to be judgmental, we're jumping into the world's game. But we want to play with our rules. We want to play with God's rules. Well, if we're interested in God's rules, we may not be playing that game. That's for next time, for sure. Well, was that all right? It was okay. That'll trend, right? That would trend. That make you think of those. All right, y'all give it up for Junior. This is it. We ran out of time. We are way over time. So we're going to just stop here and go back to our MC for what is next. Should we conclude here, or are we coming off? We're staying right here. But I do want to say thank you for your contribution to the conversation. Y'all give it up for our expert relationship
you can do better than that.
folks.
This was a wow factor. This was a wow factor.
And I want to say thank you for your attention.
Oh
Give
my
yourselves
God.
a hand.
Yes. This was wonderful.